8 years. For nearly 3,000 days, I'd been grinding, working my ass off to make my wife's dream a reality, while my own, a small woodshop, slowly gathered dust and died in the basement of our rented row house in South Philly. For 8 years, I was everything to Charlotte. Husband, ATM, a shoulder to cry on, and a workhorse. She wanted to become a top-tier surgeon at one of the best hospitals in the country. And I, young and stupid in love, promised I'd pave the road to her dream, even if it killed me. My life became an endless rat race. Days were spent on construction crews, framing houses in the suburbs and swallowing drywall dust. Nights and weekends, I picked up shifts delivering for Domino's, crisscrossing the city in our beat-up Ford Focus. I'd get home after midnight, reeking of concrete and cheap pepperoni, and collapse into bed, often too tired to even change. We barely saw each other. Our dinners became post-it notes on the fridge. Our conversations devolved into short texts. How was the exam? Good luck on your shift. Tuition payment sent. I paid her crippling med school bills, her textbooks, her board exam prep courses, sinking myself into a mountain of debt that just kept growing. Just hang in there, honey. She'd whisper on those rare nights she came to bed at the same time I did, instead of passing out over a copy of Grey's Anatomy. This is all temporary. As soon as I'm Dr. Charlotte Winters, everything will be different. We buy a house out on the main line, we travel. You quit this construction gig and finally open your workshop. Ryan's fine woodworking. Has a nice ring to it, do not you think? I believed her. I lived on that fantasy, forcing myself to ignore the ugly reality of the present. And the present was getting more and more unsettling. Charlotte started coming home smelling of expensive men's cologne, Creed Aventus, a bottle of which cost more than my weekly paycheck. She stayed late at the hospital, blaming emergency shifts, and late nights working on her research. But the real source of the knot in my stomach was him, Dr. Stephen Thorne, a brilliant, city-renowned cardiothoracic surgeon and her attending physician. She spoke about him with a kind of reverence. Stephen is a genius. Stephen says I have gifted hands. His name came up in our house more often than mine did. One night, I decided to surprise her, bringing takeout from her favorite Thai place to the hospital. I found them in his office. The door was slightly ajar. They were standing by the window, looking out over the lights of Center City. He was whispering something in her ear, and she was laughing with that carefree, genuine laugh I had not heard in years. His hand was resting on the small of her back. When she saw me, Charlotte flinched and pulled away, her expression instantly hardening into annoyance. She laid into me later that night, accusing me of not trusting her, of spying on her. She said my blue-collar mentality was holding her back, preventing her from networking with the right people. I backed down. I wanted to believe her so badly that I convinced myself I was just exhausted, seeing things that were not there. Then graduation day arrived. A hot, humid Thursday in June. I took a day off, my first in 6 months. I put on my one decent suit. I felt like I was the one graduating, like all our shared sacrifice had finally paid off. I sat in the massive auditorium at the University of Pennsylvania, and when the dean called out, Dr. Charlotte Winters, I jumped to my feet and clapped, not even noticing the tears streaming down my face. 8 years of hell were over. Our life was about to begin. In the parking lot, surrounded by proud parents and cheering graduates, she walked over to me. I moved to hug her, but she held up a hand to stop me, holding out a thick manila envelope with the logo of a downtown law firm. What's this? I asked, a cold dread washing over me. Divorce papers, she said, her voice flat and businesslike. My lawyer drew them up. I've already signed. The world fell out from under me. I stared at her face, perfect, emotionless, like a porcelain doll, and saw a stranger. Are you kidding me? Ryan, do not be naive, she said. You were a means to an end. The project is finished. Stephen sees me as a partner, an equal. And you still just the guy from the construction site. I see not drag that dead weight into my new life. I used you. Just accept it. Dead weight. The words stabbed through me. Then I saw him. Stephen Thorne was standing a few yards away, leaning against his black Porsche 911, watching us with the lazy smirk of a winner. And then Charlotte delivered the final blow. She placed a hand on her still flat stomach. I'm pregnant. And it's Stephen's baby. We want to give him the best. We want to start a real, proper family. I hope you would not make this difficult. It all clicked. Every late-night shift. Every furtive glance at her phone. I was not just being thrown away. I was being erased, scrubbed out to make room for the perfect picture of their future. Something inside me snapped. The pain was so sharp it went numb, leaving only a ringing emptiness. I did not shout. I did not beg. I silently took the expensive fountain pen from her hand, the one she'd likely just used to sign away our marriage, and using the roof of our beat-up Ford Focus as a desk, I signed my name on every page. Congratulations on your new life, I said, handing the pen and the envelope back to her. Then I turned and walked away without looking back. I left her everything, the car, the rented house with all our things, our past. I walked away with nothing but the backpack on my shoulders, and I never intended to return. 3 years flew by. Phoenix Woodworks had become a successful business with a small crew of guys working for me. Claire and I were inseparable. We were building a house together on the shore of Lake Travis, a house she designed, and I was building with my own 2 hands. I proposed on the half-finished deck under the big Texas sky, and she said yes. I was happy. Genuinely, quietly, deeply happy. The past had almost faded into a dull background hum, but it was about to come roaring back. One evening, I got a call from my old buddy from Philly, the only person who knew where I'd landed. Ryan, man. Hey, listen, I hate to be the one to tell you this, but your ex, Charlotte, she is looking for you. I told her I had no idea where you were, but she sounded desperate. My heart seized up. I thanked him and hung up. A week later, he called back, unable to hold it in any longer, and told me the whole story. Charlotte and Stephen's fairy tale had imploded before it even really began. Their son, Owen, was born with a severe congenital immunodeficiency. A bubble boy, as they say. He needed a sterile environment, constant procedures, and outrageously expensive treatments that Stephen's top-tier insurance barely touched. The brilliant Dr. Thorne, the man who saved lives for a living, turned out to be a coward in the face of his own personal tragedy. He was not cut out to be the father of a chronically ill child. It clashed with his carefully crafted image of perfection and success. The sleepless nights, the bills from the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, the crying baby, the exhausted wife. It was not part of the life he signed up for. He started disappearing into his work, started an affair with a young surgical resident, and a year after his son was born, he just walked out. He filed for divorce, leaving Charlotte with a minimal child support check that was almost entirely consumed by legal fees. Charlotte's career had been decimated. She could not keep up with the brutal pace of a surgical residency while juggling 100 doctor's appointments and a child who needed round-the-clock care. She had to drop out, taking a job as a general physician at an urgent care clinic just to have a predictable schedule. She sold her Rittenhouse Square condo, moved to a cramped apartment in a rough neighborhood, and was drowning in medical debt. She was alone, with nothing to show for her ambition but a pile of broken pieces. And then, at rock bottom, she remembered me. Good old, dependable Ryan. The rock she had always leaned on before she cast him aside. She started searching. She spent the last of her money on a private investigator. And finally, in a move that violated every rule of medical ethics and federal law, she used her credentials to access closed medical databases and found a record of my annual physical in Austin. She found me. It was a blistering Texas afternoon. The air in the workshop was thick with the smell of sawdust and varnish. I was sanding a walnut countertop when the door creaked open, casting a silhouette against the blinding sun. It was her. I would not have recognized her if it were not for her eyes. They still had that same steel in them, only now it was rusted with pain and desperation. The designer power suits were gone, replaced by faded jeans and a worn-out t-shirt. The polished gleam was gone, leaving behind something brittle and frayed. "Ryan," she whispered, and that one word was loaded with a whole world of begging, shame, and hope. "What are you doing here, Charlotte? I had to find you. I need your help." She took a step toward me, and I instinctively held up a hand, stopping her in her tracks. That S when the dam broke. In a rambling, tear-choked torrent, she told me everything. About Stephen, about their son, Owen, his illness, the betrayal, the crushing debt. I was a monster, Ryan. A blind, selfish, cruel monster. I destroyed the only person who ever truly loved me. I know I do not deserve anything from you, not even your pity. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm asking you to help him. My son, Owen. He needs a bone marrow transplant. That's his only shot. The insurance will not cover a fraction of it. I do not have the money. You were always so strong, so good. Please help him. Not me, him. She looked at me, her gaze holding all the pain of every mother in the world. She was appealing to the Ryan she knew, the guy who would have given her the shirt off his back. And for a split second, that Ryan almost answered. But then I looked down at my own 2 hands, calloused, scarred, the hands that had built a new life from the ashes of the one she burned down. I remembered the nights in that grimy hostel, the taste of loneliness and despair, and I knew that Guy was not here anymore. "I'll help," I said, my voice even and steady. A wave of such violent hope washed over her face it was unsettling. "Really? Oh, Ryan, I knew it. You do not understand. I cut her off. I'll help Owen. But I'm not helping you." She froze, her face slack with confusion. "What do you mean?" "My lawyer will facilitate an anonymous grant to a foundation that specializes in helping children with this condition. It will be earmarked for one specific patient, Owen Winters. The grant will cover the entire cost of the operation and his recovery. You will never know the name of the donor, and you will never, under any circumstances, show up in my life again." I pulled my lawyer's business card from my wallet and placed it on the workbench between us. "His doctor will need to contact this office. They'll handle the logistics." Charlotte stared at me as if I were speaking a foreign language. "But why? Why anonymously? There is no we, Charlotte," I said, my voice as hard as the oak I was working on. "The Ryan you were counting on died 3 years ago in a hospital parking lot in Philadelphia. You killed him, and I would not let you dig up his corpse to solve your problems. I'm doing this for the boy, because no child is to blame for the sins of their parents. This is not forgiveness. This is a transaction. Now please leave." It was at that exact moment that Claire walked in, carrying a small cooler with my lunch and a thermos of iced tea. She took in the scene, me rigid, the strange, tear-streaked woman, the thick tension in the air, and looked at me with a question in her eyes. "It's okay, honey," I said, walking over and kissing her gently. "Come meet someone. This is Charlotte. Just from back in Philly. Charlotte, this is Claire, my fiancée. We getting married in October." I saw the last flicker of hope die in Charlotte's eyes. She was not looking at a broken man who had been waiting for her to return. She was looking at a man who had built a life, a happy one, without her. A life where there was no space for her at all. She silently picked up the business card, turned, and walked out of my workshop and out of my life, for good. I watched her go, feeling nothing but a quiet, profound sense of relief. Claire came and wrapped her arms around me from behind. "You did the right thing," she whispered. I knew she was right. I had saved an innocent kid's life, but I had not allowed the woman who betrayed me to poison my soul again. I closed the door behind her, shutting out the past for good. Ahead of me was a house to finish, a woman I adored, and a whole life I had earned. Charlotte got a chance for her son, but she was left with her own life sentence. The knowledge that she had thrown away a treasure, mistaking it for trash. And that's where today's story ends. Thank you for watching to the end. If you enjoyed it, do not forget to like and comment. We'd love to discuss this story with you. See you in the next video.